We're moving forward and making changes.
It's kind of a big thing.
Colgate Herbal uses traditional nature's herbs and combines it with Colgate Science for healthy gums and strong teeth.
And we'll leave no smile behind.
It's the last Monday of the year, live from Broadcasting House here in Nairobi, Kenya. This is Prime Edition. Tonight, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka hints at the formation of a new political party while unveiling his presidential ambition think tank. Plus, Interior Cabinet Secretary calls on the Power of Mercy Committee to fast-track inmate petitions. Good evening. My name is Mboya, and these are our top stories tonight. Produce abductees, court orders IG and state agencies.
Comrades, we are peaceful. Comrades, we are peaceful. Comrades, we are peaceful.
Busia Senator Oki Omtata arrested in the anti-abduction protests. Cases of Mpox in the country rise with 2 more confirmations.
We are going to release the KCSE results in early January, within the first two weeks of January.
The 2024 KCSE exam results to be released in the second week of January. Many thanks indeed for joining us tonight. Lucy Moore is in charge of our sign language docket. My colleague Muchuma Odim is away in the West. But nevertheless, the news goes on. We begin with our lead story now. The High Court has directed the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, and 8 other state agencies to produce 6 abducted persons. The Law Society of Kenya has sought orders directing the National Police Service to unconditionally release Peter Muteti, Bernard Kavuli, Billy Mwangi, Gideon Kibet, Roni Kiplagat, and Steve Kavingo. The court order signed by Justice Bahati Mwamuye has also directed the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, to facilitate the compliance of the directive, both personally and his capacity as the IG. The court has equally ordered the apex leaders of each of the constitutional bodies implicated in the abductions to personally appear at the full hearing of the application to answer questions raised on the arbitrary infringement of the rights sanctioned by themselves or by persons under their command. They are the National Police Service, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Interior and National Coordination, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, the National Intelligence Service, the Director of Public Prosecutions, and the Attorney General. The notice of motion application shall be heard on Friday. From that court order on abductions to now the protests on abduction, and Busia Senator Oki Omutata is among several people who were arrested Monday for taking part in the anti-abduction protest here in Nairobi, Kenya. The demonstrators' attempts to access major government offices were thwarted by the anti-riot police officers who had beefed up security in the capital. The protesters, however, vowed to continue exercising what they say are their constitutional rights to picket and also to push for the release of all individuals allegedly abducted. Timothy Kipnosu has that report.
Some parts of Nairobi's central business district were relatively calm, even as some traders were apprehensive about the planned protests.
Hii uchumi si mzuri, ndio maana tuko town saa hii na tunatarajia ya kwamba hakutakuwa kubaya. Kazi itaendelea na tutafanya biashara.
But in the other side of town at the High Court, Busia Senator Okiya Omutata sought orders to force the police and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations to produce 7 abductees, whether dead or alive.
Personally, I'm very, very attached because Bob Njagi was kidnapped a few hours after leaving my office.
From the court, they regrouped with other protesters at the Aga Khan Walk in the CBD.
Tunataka tu government iachilie wale vijana wameshika, hiyo tu peke yake, hakuna kitu kingine.
Kama si vijana achilie, si tufanye maandamano yetu. Tunaona polisi washaanza kuturushia tia gasi na hatujaleta ngori yote. Si tuko peaceful ukiona hapa nyuma.
They chanting slogans to demand the release of persons abducted.
Who is doing the abduction?
Anti-riot police deployed in the CBD, however, barred their march to government offices. They were, however, undeterred, prompting police to disperse them by lobbing tear gas canisters. They then regrouped and, in an attempt to evade arrest, chained themselves and huddled together on the ground.
Comrades, we are peaceful. Comrades, we are peaceful. Comrades.
But they were outmaneuvered and arrested.
Please, we beg. I am on my knees begging you.
We came in peace and we asked them to keep us in peace. We brought them roses, they have refused.
We came here today because we are fighting for our comrades. We want them to be found.
Police were, however, non-committal on the number of people arrested. Timothy Kipnosu for Prime Edition.
Meanwhile, our colleague Tilio Marco has put together an executive summary of the demonstrations that were witnessed today. 3 demonstrators being held at Central Police Station in Mombasa as youth protested against abductions that rocked several towns across the country. In Embu County, businesses were affected as police lobbed tear gas canisters to disperse demonstrators who tried to block the Embu-Kiritiri road.
The 3 young people were arrested after police in Mombasa were forced to use tear gas canisters to disperse a group of angry youth who had gathered at Pembes and Ndovu Point along Moi Avenue to demonstrate against abductions in the country.
Sisi tunasema vijana wasiogope, watu wajitokeze kimasumasu, manake inchi ni yetu, inchi si ya wanasiasa, tusipoongea sisi nani ataongea?
Addressing journalists in Mombasa, human rights groups at the Coast region led by Muslims for Human Rights condemned the arrest and threatened legal action against the police, who they accused of using excessive force against the demonstrators.
Wale ambao wametiwa mbaroni watatu ni wanawake, wameweza kupigwa na kuumizwa vibaya, mmoja ameumia kwa bega, mwingine ameumia kwa miguu, wameweza kuzuiliwa Central Police. Baadhi yetu ambao wamekwenda pale kutaka kuwaona wamefurushwa na wameondolewa pale, hawajapewa haki ya kuwaona.
In Embu County, businesses were closed as protesters who had blocked a section of the Embu-Kiritiri road clashed with police. Police fired tear gas canisters to disperse them. In Kitengela, police officers erected a roadblock at the entrance of Kitengela town along Namanga Road, even as the town witnessed a state of normalcy. A police helicopter hovered around the town monitoring the situation. Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
Here now is some reactions from those protests, the call for action on reports of the abductions intensifying, with opposition leader led by Wiper Democratic Movement Party, Kalonzo Musyoka, demanding the immediate release of 82 youth allegedly abducted over the past 3 months. Musyoka has condemned cases of abductions of individuals whose whereabouts remain unknown. Ben Chumba puts that story in perspective.
A section of political leaders continue to demand accountability over the reported abductions of young people.
We must call everybody responsible to account.
Wiper Democratic Movement Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, while delivering his New Year message in Nairobi, called for the immediate release of youths allegedly abducted in the recent months.
We also demand that all 29 missing youth whose whereabouts are unaccounted for be accounted for forthwith.
Meanwhile, Kwanza Member of Parliament Ferdinand Wanyonyi called on parents of youths abducted to report the incidents to the police, emphasizing on the need to bring those responsible to justice.
The parents who have got their children abducted, let them go to the nearest police station and say who and where the adoption took place.
He made the remarks at Mboya village in Kabuchai constituency, Bungoma County, when he went to condole with the family of National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula following the demise of his mother. Ben Chumba for Prime Edition.
Away from those protests now, President William Ruto has dismissed critics of the planned nationwide vaccination exercise, saying that livestock has always been vaccinated against diseases to enhance productivity. Speaking in Kilgoris, where he was meeting elders from the Ma community, the head of state also implored pastoralists to upgrade their livestock by inseminating using superior breeds. MPs accompanying the president pledged to support the nationwide vaccination program scheduled to start in January.
Sisi kama ODM, sisi kama watu ya upande hii jirani, tunashukuru vile umesaidia baba kwa hii safari yake ya kwenda African Union. Na vile mimi naona Mungu akitujalia atafaulu.
What the government has planned and actually planning to do ni kufanya mifugo zetu na product zetu siweze kuwa ya dhamana na ipate market kule nje. Na tutafanya hivyo tu kwa kuendelea kufanya ya kwamba our animals are in good health and have produced the best quality. Kwa hivyo mambo ya vaccine ambayo umesikia ya kwamba tuko na mpangilio, nataka kuomba nyinyi wote mko wafugaji, tusinunue porojo, tusinunue fitina, wacha tupange tufanye chanjo ya mifugo zetu.
Si kila mtu hapa iko na ng'ombe? Mimi nataka niwaulize. Umeshawahi kupeleka ng'ombe yako kwa chanjo? Wale wamepeleka ng'ombe yao kwa chanjo siku moja nione? Sasa shida iko wapi? Ile chanjo wewe umekuwa ukilipia. Nimesema safari hii kwa sababu naweka pesa kwa kahawa, chai, sukari. Mimi niwasaidie hiyo chanjo ambayo umekuwa ukilipia, wacha nikusaidie nikulipie this year. Ndio tuweze kuchanja ng'ombe ya kila mtu. Yule yako na pesa na yule ambaye hana pesa pia ng'ombe yake ipate chanjo. Na tumepunguza kwanza ile ya artificial insemination. Tumepunguza bei yake kutoka karibu shilingi 8,000 mpaka shilingi 2,900 kwa ile sexed semen. Ile ukiweka kwa ng'ombe inakuzalia ndama ambaye itakuwa hybrid.
On to the Health Watch now. The Ministry of Health has confirmed an additional 2 monkeypox cases here in Kenya, bringing a total of the confirmed cases to 31. The 2 new cases were reported in Nakuru and Mombasa counties. The confirmed cases has been reported across 12 counties, with Nakuru bearing the heaviest burden, with 10 positive cases confirmed so far. Nancy Okware with that health story.
The latest monkeypox cases to be confirmed place the total of confirmed cases in the country at 31 out of 351 samples tested at various laboratories. The positivity rate in Kenya now stands at 8.8%. Nakuru County has so far confirmed 10 cases, followed by Mombasa, which has 8 cases, and Nairobi 2 cases. According to the Ministry of Health, over 2.6 million travellers have so far been screened since the outbreak of the disease at the various points of entry, with suspected cases identified for further tests. The public has been urged to adhere to preventive measures such as avoiding skin-to-skin contact with people who have a rash that looks like Mpox, avoiding sharing personal belongings such as towels with an infected person, regular hand washing with soap and water, avoid engaging in an unprotected sex, and avoid multiple sexual partners. To support the affected countries, the Africa Centre for Disease Control, through its Mpox response plan, envisages a budget of $600 million for 6 months from September 2024 to February 2025. The plan focuses on readiness, coordinated action and vaccine access in 28 countries. Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
From health to education, the 2024 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examination results will be released in the second week of January 2025. This is according to the Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogamba, who assures that the results will be credible, with the candidates benefiting from the new grading system aimed at increasing the numbers of those who are joining universities. Ogamba, who spoke in Bungoma County, said that the government is working around the clock to ensure smooth transition of grade 9 learners when schools reopen for the new academic year.
We are going to release the KCSE results in early January, within the first two weeks of January. So we'll be releasing those results. We're in the final stages of finalizing the marking, and so we're going to be ready as at that time. Yes, the government is in the process of ensuring that the transition is smooth. The schools are opening on the 6th. We've done a substantial number of classrooms, and we've made other arrangements to ensure that the transition is smooth once the learners come to school.
It's a story that brings us here to a first break on Prime Edition. And coming up, we are going to look at those calls by the Interior CS on the Power of Mercy Committee to do what? To fast-track inmate petitions. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Ni sahi ishafika na ni kubwa kubwa. Kweli? Hii Kristi ni bomba na Blue Santa kupitia star 570 hash option 1. Rudia. Star 570 hash option 1. Iko PlayStation 5 na 55-inch TV na iko 500,000 Kenyan shillings. Nambuzi moja? Nambuzi. 1 million Kenyan shillings na Samsung S24 Ultra. Nabuzi moja. Iko 2 million Kenyan shillings na iPhone 16 Pro Max. Nabuzi mbili. Blue Santa amekuja na zawadi kibao. Nani kubwa kubwa. Hapa kuna ndogo ndogo. Hapa Christmas ni bomba.
This is my husband. He's John Dennis. Him and I were involved in a road traffic accident. All I remember is hearing brakes and a crash. My husband was on the floor of the matatu with one hand hanging to one seat, and he was unconscious. So I tried calling him and hitting him until he woke up. So when he woke up, he told me, I can't feel my legs. The doctor came in, Dr. Okanga, and he told us Dennis will never be able to walk again. It broke me because he's been my husband for what? 12 years. Psychologically, I am not fine. I'm doing counseling. Being a primary caregiver is not easy.
Slow down. Speeding ruins lives.
Napenda kutumia nafasi hii baada ya kuzungumza nawe
kuwatakia Wakenya wote heri na fanaka za Krismasi, na pia tunawatakia mwaka mwema wa 2025, mwaka ambao utakuwa na umaarufu mwingi kwao na kwa jamii zao. Asante sana.
Mimi sikuja hapa kivita kabisa, lakini mkitaka tuvurugane tutavurugana sana hapa.
Nachunga nini? Na ulikata kunipa ushauri.
Samahani. Samahani kama nitakuwa nimevuka mpaka. Lakini nakuomba uzungumze na huyu mjukuu wako Nuru.
Nataka kuongea na wewe.
Nimekwambia nina haraka, unielewi wewe?
Usiponsikiliza mimi nitamwambia bin mimi.
Sikupigana. Umefanyaje? Leo tumefanya tu kugombana.
Lakini tangu macho yangu yaonje mapenzi yako, sikuwahi kutazama mwanamke mwingine yeyote isipokuwa ni wewe tu.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. All our socials, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter handles at KBC Channel 1 continue talking to us. Now, the former city town clerk, Philip Kisia, has been fronted as the Azimio La Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party Executive Director. Kisia will replace former Minister Raphael Tuju in the opposition outfit, which appears to be crafting its own pathway away from the shadows of Orange Democratic Movement leader Raila Odinga. In what signals the shifting of alliance and the political realignments of the country, Wiper Democratic Movement leader Kalonzo Musyoka, while announcing that a new political coalition is in the offing, also formally unveiled Zainab Abubakar, who will be leading his presidential ambitions think tank. JJ Curia opens the second part of this live broadcast with that story.
At their end-of-year address, the Azimio La Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party announced changes seen as its latest move to purge Orange Democratic Movement leader Raila Odinga's allies from the opposition outfit. Former Nairobi City Town Clerk Philip Kisia is poised to replace former Cabinet Secretary and Jubilee Party Secretary General Raphael Tuju, who is seen as a close ally of Odinga, and retired President Uhuru Kenyatta as the Executive Director.
Mr. Kisia's extensive experience in public service, private sector leadership, and community engagement makes him uniquely qualified to lead Azimio Secretariat as it transitions to an all-inclusive and progressive coalition.
The Wiper Democratic Movement leader says though they wish Odinga success in his bid to become the next chairperson of the African Union Commission, the coalition will have to re-strategize.
We continue to wish him well as he pursues this ambition of becoming the next chair of the AU Commission. The chair of Azimio Coalition is former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and we understand our brother Uhuru's wish to remain above these things. We respect that, and so we are taking charge in the next year.
Kalonzo says the party is planning for rigorous engagements with the public and is also mooting a mega coalition that will challenge President William Ruto in his re-election campaign in 2027.
The new year, 2025, will be different. This is our promise to Kenyans and to you, Mr. President. We shall obviously be unveiling our new coalition early in the new year.
He's a man I can go behind at any time because in his history I've never had him abandon what the Constitution provides for. If you become a new convertee, we will come, but we will not be behind you. You should be behind us.
And while Kalonzo, tipped as the favorite amongst his peers to fly the Azimio flag, is expected to unveil other members of his presidential secretariat, Zainab Abubakar has been officially unveiled as the head of his think tank. John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.
Well, we move straight into the day's business. And Kenya Revenue Authority new chairperson Ndiritu Muridhi says that he will focus on building trust by institutionalizing a service culture based on trust across its touch points with its clients. Here's Alan Aoko with the details.
Former Laikipia Governor Ndiritu Muridhi was on 19th of this month appointed the chairperson of the Board of Directors of the Kenya Revenue Authority. On Monday morning, Muridhi was sworn into office, and his rallying call was how to build trust between the tax collector and taxpayers.
Where do we engage with our clients? How do we interact with our clients? We expect to leverage technology to the greatest extent possible, to be able to ensure that our systems are fit for purpose, are user-friendly, and easily accessible.
His call comes after 25 Kenya Revenue Authority employees were dismissed on charges of unethical conduct during the months of July, August, and September this year. He says the disciplinary measures that the Kenya Revenue Authority is implementing is meant to uphold integrity, ensure accountability, and enhance public confidence in the tax administration system.
For us to get there, we have to be very ethical in the way we perform our duties. We have to perform them to the highest competency possible.
Muridhi says the tax collector will not relent in reforming its client-facing services as it seeks to model itself against similar major global tax collecting agencies.
The Swedish tax agency, another agency we should look to is the Australian Tax Office. And I mention this particular too because of their orientation that the citizens are clients.
For the judiciary, we remain open to engage, to consult. The office is just across. You can just come across and we discuss on how to resolve disputes that are before us in a quick and efficient manner. And just a reminder that we serve the same people.
KRA has offered tax defaulters a 6-month tax amnesty to settle any tax arrears accrued until 31st December 2023 to benefit from a waiver of interest and penalties.
Don't shy away, come and talk to us. We could even agree a payment plan with you. Because as we said, you, our customers, are the center of what we do.
Alan Oko, Prime Edition.
Star 570 hash. Option 1 kuna PS5 na ni full package na inakuja na JBL Party Box. Hiyo boom experience pia iko.
Napenda kutumia nafasi hii baada ya kuzungumza nawe kuwatakia Wakenya wote heri na fanaka za Krismasi, na pia tunawatakia mwaka mwema wa 2025, mwaka ambao utakuwa na umaarufu mwingi kwao na kwa jamii zao. Asante sana.
Welcome back. I'm also holding down the fort for the sports anchor. Harambee Stars interim coach Francis Kimanzi is expected to name a 20-man travelling squad tomorrow ahead of the Mapinduzi Cup, scheduled for the 3rd all the way to the 13th of January in Zanzibar. The 20 players and an additional 4 will be named from the 38-member squad that has been in the 2-week residential camp in Nairobi, Kenya. This year's Mapinduzi Cup will be used by the East African countries to prepare for next year's African Nations Championships. In Zanzibar, Kenya is set to face the hosts, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, and Burkina Faso, all determined to emerge victorious to boost their morale ahead of the African Championship.
We have now, out of the squad of 38, we have something to build there. And the hard work and the energy they put in every training makes even the players far much better. We have something, of course, that we can produce something ready and something that can be very competitive for the Mapinduzi Cup. That's not a big worry. It's out with a lot of pride, and it also brings the unity amongst the local-based professional players, because it's a real platform for them to showcase their talent, and it is also to showcase what they have been gaining and what they have been and how they have been promoting the local league, because it means this is already a product from the local league. So if they perform so well, beyond our expectation, that means, as a country and from the local league, it means there's something that we are getting right as we progress.
The Kenyan players Nancy Kawira and Selina Hohaya were bundled out of the ITF W35 tour after they lost their round of 32 matches today at the Nairobi club. Nancy put up a gallant fight but was unlucky. Why? She lost by 2 sets to love of 6-3 to India's Vanshita Patania, beg your pardon. Celine lost a match as well by the same margin to India's Niditra Ramjona. Meanwhile, Stacey Yego progressed to the round of 16 after her opponent Sarah Jamal of the United States of America failed to honor the match. Following the conclusion of the preliminary round, the championship, which served off today, enters the round of 16 tomorrow. The winner of the tour is set to pocket 30,000, not Kenyan shillings, but US dollars.
One for experience and exposure, because then we are getting them exposed. If without the tournament, they will not get that exposure, because as we say, it is very expensive. So they get to play very high-ranked players coming from around the world. And as we talk about Angela, she's playing in this tournament. She's ranked 501, and she's seeded number 6 in the tournament. We also have the East African, who is Sada from Burundi, who's the top seed in this event. So it's very important, because as we said, it is very expensive to travel. And so when we bring it here, it is very important for them for exposure, for confidence, and of course get the points and money at the same time.
Kenya volleyball queen Janet Wanja will be laid to rest this Friday at the Langata Cemetery here in Nairobi, Kenya. According to the Kenya Volleyball Federation, the burial service will take place at the Langata High School. A memorial service in her honor is scheduled for the 2nd of January at the Kasarani Indoor Gymnasium. Wanja, who succumbed to stage 4 gallbladder cancer, had an hilarious career as a settler for the national women's volleyball team, representing Kenya at major events, including the Athens Olympic Games. In a most recent role, the former KCB and Kenya Pipeline player served as a trainer of the Malkia strikers and accompanied them to the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris, France. Well, that does it for the sports. May her soul rest in peace on the day that Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen called on the Power of Mercy Committee to expedite the consideration of petitions by inmates and pardon those who are really deserving cases. The Cabinet Secretary made those remarks in Eldoret main prison. Well, this bulletin comes to an end at exactly 9:28, and the reason is because we've got to leave you tonight with a documentary that was prepared specially for you. It delves into the ruling party's bottom-up economic transformation agenda, highlighting some of the key pillars, the agricultural transformation, the inclusive growth, the MSME economy, housing, settlement, healthcare, and all that, including the digital super highway. So my name is Mboya. I want to thank you on behalf of the Prime Edition team for watching. We've got to go. I'll be back again tomorrow, by the way. So we'll see you at 9. Good night, and God bless you.
Ni sahi ishafika na ni kubwa. Kweli? Hii Kristi ni bomba na Blue Santa kupitia star 570 hash option 1. Rudia. Star 570 hash option 1. Iko PlayStation 5 na 55 inch TV na iko 500,000 Kenyan shillings. Na mbuzi moja? Na mbuzi. 1 million Kenyan shillings na Samsung S24 Ultra. Na mbuzi moja? Iko 2 million Kenyan shillings na iPhone 16 Pro Max. Na mbuzi mbili. Blue Santa amekuja na zawadi kibao. Na ni kubwa. Hapa kuna ndogo. Hapa Christmas ni bomba.
Say bye-bye to FOMO, the fear of missing out, by downloading the KBC Online app that gives you access to everything you love. Get the latest news, sport, music, entertainment news, live radio, and so much more at the palm of your hands. To get the app, simply search KBC Mobile Digital App in your Google Play or App Store and download the app. Catch what you want, anytime, anywhere. Stay connected. Stay ahead with KBC Mobile Digital App.
It is a story of transformation, one that replicates across all the 47 counties in Kenya.
I, William Samoei Ruto.
When the Kenya Kwanza government assumed office in 2022, President William Ruto committed to transformative leadership through the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, commonly known as the Plan. Right from its inception, the Kenya Kwanza government identified 5 key pillars as the primary drivers of socio-economic transformation. They include agricultural transformation and inclusive growth, micro, small and medium enterprise, MSME economy, housing and settlement, universal healthcare, and digital superhighway and creative economy.
We came to the conclusion that the bottom-up economic model was the most optimal for all our productive sectors.
The rationale behind the bottom-up economic transformation agenda was to adopt a paradigm shift where, as opposed to a top-down approach of planning, we start by seeking the views of the integral stakeholders at the bottom of the economic pyramid on what measures and interventions by way of development they would wish the government to undertake based on opportunities available and informed by comparative advantages in all parts of the country.
Two years on, at the helm of the country's leadership, how does the government's scorecard look like through the lens of Kenyans? What interventions has the government deployed to support the realization of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda? Recognizing that food constitutes 54% of household expenditures in Kenya, the government prioritized reducing the cost of living through agricultural reforms. Two key strategies have been deployed to achieve cost of living reduction: fertilizer subsidy program and improvement of key agricultural value chains.
Remember, before this administration took over, the cost of fertilizer, 50 kilogram bags, was 7,500 Kenya shillings. Now we are talking about 2,000 Kenya shillings, 2,500, which has never happened.
2,500 inakuwa ni rahisi. Hata ukifanyia kazi, shamba unategemea kitu utapata. Maana pale unatumia 5,900 au 6,000, hupati chochote. Ukija kuunganisha hiyo pesa uliyotumia, unakuta ni hasara tupu.
Hii fertilizer bag moja tulikuwa tunainunua na 2,500, ambayo ni bei mzuri sana juu kila mtu anaweza iafford, na ile ingine iko juu kiasi, juu kama ile unaenda kununua ya kahawa, unaenda unanunua na 4,500, hiyo ni bei iko juu sana, lakini ya serikali imekuwa ni 2,500. So nimeonelea mimi mkulima mdogo, imenisaidia juu nimeweza kununua.
From the time this administration took over, which was the production of maize was 34 million bags, 90 kilogram bags. As we talk now, it has moved to 67 million bags. And we are looking at over 80 million bags going forward. That alone means that if we stop importation of maize, the price of 2 kilogram bag was around 230. But now we are talking about less than an average of 130.
The fertilizer subsidy program involved digital registration of all farmers.
Once it came to the registration part of it, it was very easy for us. Because even those people who live far away from here, but they own shabas there, we could only contact them. And once they could come and register. So we were able to cover a good number and a good percentage.
Process ya ilikuwa mzuri sana. Wewe ukisema uko na shamba wakuandike jina yako na waandike shamba yako kiasi yako. Kwa hivyo utapata message kwa simu yako ukiambiwa Patricia imekuja, uende bag na unaandikiwa ni bagi ngapi na unaendea wapi.
The smallholder irrigation program is a government project that aims to improve the living conditions of rural households.
Mpango yetu kwa miaka 5 ijayo ni kuongeza sehemu ya kuzalisha chakula kupitia kwa irrigation kutoka ekari 1,670 mpaka ekari 1.5 in the next 5 years.
The program supports farmers to use irrigation and not over-rely on rain-fed agriculture.
This maize has been grown using the water for Nyajigi irrigation project. Now the project intends to, improve the lives of our people.
Mimi nilikuwa wa kwanza kuweka hii maji na imenisaidia kwa njia kubwa sana, kwa sababu mimi kwangu imekuwa nimeipiga na mateke, kwa sababu saizi kwangu hakuna kitu ninanunuaga. Kutoka kitunguu, kutoka nini, hata nimekuwa hata wakuuza. Tunakuwa busy kwa sababu ya hii maji. Kwa hivyo sasa imenifanya nikafurahia sana, kwa sababu hii maji isipokuwa kama singekuwa naye singeweza kukua nikiwa busy hivyo. Kwa hivyo sasa nimefurahia, hata serikali yetu mimi naishukuru sana. kwa kutusaidia kwa sababu ya huu mradi.
As part of efforts to revive the textile industry and boost cotton farming, the government has distributed 41,889 metric tons of BT cotton seeds to farmers.
Pamba inafaidisha sana kwa maana nilisomesa naye watoto wangu. Tunanunuliwa kwa cash. Yaani hakuna kununuliwa kwa mandeni.
Toka to revive hii kibanda ya cotton, watu wengi wamepata ajira. Watu wengi wamekuwa wakikuja wanajisaidia na wengine wanazidi kuja tunawapea kazi.
A raft of initiatives have been implemented in the livestock subsector.
We came up with a plan a few years ago, and we are now seeing it to completion, of putting together a leather district. A big area where we just concentrate on leather manufacturing. This park is 85% complete. Actually, in terms of the leather production side, we are almost 100% done. And 2 manufacturing plants are already up, almost 100% done. Last year, we were able to do about 811 million liters of the formerly marketed milk, which is the milk that goes through the processors and is actually processed and found in the shelves of the supermarkets. With that, we've also been able to increase exports from 4.3 billion to about 7-point-something billion. A rise also in exports, and that has been because of our deliberate now export promotion strategy for dairy.
Unaweza kupata mikopo kwa urahisi uweze kutimiza mahitaji yako na ya biashara.
In 2022, the government launched the Hustler Fund to provide affordable credit to Kenyans, especially those at the lower end of the economic pyramid in Kenya.
We have made interest 500 times lower than the average interest rate in the market.
So far, we've reached out to 24.5 million Kenyans where we are today, and we have disbursed 59.5 billion as of today. Of course, then we introduce a mandatory saving component, and this mandatory saving component was to start now giving or mobilizing some sort of financial security to the borrower. So when you borrow, you start building your own financial security. So last year when we were doing the first anniversary, the top Hustler Fund borrower had accessed close to 4.5 million cumulatively. And this top borrower had saved close to 450,000.
The fund has helped the MSMEs and groups to save 9.3 million shillings. The government committed to construction of 200,000 affordable housing units annually.
We've already awarded projects of over 124,000 units across many parts of the country. They are under various stages of construction, and that has been made possible by the funding that we have managed to get. We are collecting just above 6 billion shillings a month towards the construction.
The jobs created through affordable housing increased by 188,256 in 2024.
Usually have around 160 workers per day. We have the masons, the casuals, the electrical people, the plumbers.
Vijana walikuwa hawana kazi, lakini wakati tulianza waliweza kupata kazi. Kuna wale walikuwa wanatumia miadarati, tukaona wameachana nazo na wameanza kufanya kazi hapa.
Huku niko like workers, department ya chuma,
Hapo before sikuwa job, so maisha yangu haikuwa sawa. Na tangu niingie kwa hii job, naona niko sawa. Nalipa nyumba, naweza kusomesha watoto, wanakula. Before ilikuwa hard.
The number of affordable housing units under construction or completed increased by 94,128 units in 2024.
First phase that we began last year, around September, is now getting to completion. So by end of this year, we should start now handing over keys to Kenyans who have really contributed towards this program.
Actually, I want to tell Kenyans that the project is actually existing. A child cannot just be born and start walking immediately. So we are still at the stage of nurturing the child. So let the citizen just be patient. Let them just have hope that we are going to deliver the project. They are ongoing.
The mortgages refinanced have increased to 1,005 mortgages, representing 40% increment since 2022.
The 1.1 trillion out there as loans, you'll find almost 600 billion is going to support the housing project, affordable housing, 600 billion. And you say most of the main loans go for five years. So in essence, every year we are giving around 150 billion to support the housing agenda.
Between 2022 and 2024, 213 Juakali artisans have received prior learning assessment and recognition by the government.
Kutokana na hii affordable housing imenisaidia sana juu nilikuja nikajiunga na kikundi cha Structure, wanaume wakanisaidia sana, wakanifunza kufunga chuma. Sasa mpaka serikali ikatulipia fees, tukafanya mtihani kutoka kwa NITA na sasa tunangojea certificate.
Tumefaidika na hii mradi juu hata serikali ileta watu wa NITA. Kwa hivyo tutakuwa mtu akienda kuuliza kazi ukiwa na certificate yako ama cheti yako ya kuonyeshana wewe kweli ni mfundi.
The right to health is a fundamental human right guaranteed in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. In guaranteeing the right to health for all, the Kenya Kwanza government has made progress during its first 2 years in office.
The first thing that we did was rolling out the community health promoters. And this was in collaboration between national government and the county government. Remember, health is a devolved function, and the role of the national government is policy and training. Already, the community health promoters have been able to register 7.8 million households in Kenya. And we are gearing to ensure we have registered 12.5 million households in Kenya. And out of the 6.5 million people screened for diabetes, 126,000 have been referred to a health facility for further assessment. That means 126,000 Kenyans who are living without knowing that they have diabetes or they have signs of diabetes. 4 million Kenyans have been screened for hypertension. And out of that, 318,000 have been referred to a health facility for further screening.
Tunaenda kuangalia wale watu wakujwa katika kijiji yetu. Alafu kuna wale ambao wanakona shinda ya pressure na sukari. Tunaenda tukiwapima. Pia tuna watoto wadogo ambao tuna monitor wa under 5 tuangalie kama wameenda immunization na kama hawajaenda tunawafuatilia. Still bado kunao wakongo ambao wana watu wa kuangalia. Huwa tunaenda kuwatembelea, tunaangalia shinda ambao zinawakumba kule manyumbani.
247,000 pregnant women have been identified. 105,000 have been referred to the clinics near them for further for antenatal care.
Kuna watu wengi walikuwa wanakufia nyumbani. Juu tuliona kama kuna kesi zingine tunaona wajawazito hawaendi kliniki. Community sasa imesaidika juu tunawasaidia waende kliniki. na tunafuatilia vile wanaenda, na ikikaribia wakati wa kujifungua tunahisisha kuwa waende wa hospitali ndio wajifungulie huko.
Every of the community health promoter has a smartphone with her or him, and they have a software, they have an app that they record this information, and once the information is recorded, it comes to my dashboard to see who has been able to visit which household, or how many households they have been able to visit, what they have been referred to. Every of the information is recorded in that. They have a kit.
Sasa tuko na first aid kit na zina kila kitu, tumejua kufunga, wametupea vitu za kufunga. Tunao mashini ya kupima pressure, kupima kisukari. Tuna pia hata gloves tumepewa sisi ya kujiprotect. Tunaona wale watoto wako huko kwa kijiji, wako malnutrited. Tuna muwaki ya kuwapima, pia watu wazima pia. Na hii promoter bado imenisaidia sana sababu kuna kitu ambao tunapata kidogo.
Starting 1st October 2024, Kenya experienced the transition from the National Health Insurance Fund to the Social Health Authority in line with the government's plan to achieve universal health coverage.
If you are in an emergency situation, you are involved in an accident or you've got a heart attack, anything which is referred medically as emergency, requires urgent attention. It does not require you to pay money. It doesn't require you to book a doctor. An emergency is an emergency, and therefore you are rushed to hospital, you're taken care of, and within 24 hours you have been stabilized, and then the issues of insurance now comes in. The fund also supports those who are in critical conditions and their premiums have been exhausted. And therefore that fund will set into, you'll use those funds to come and offset the difference of your insurance premium paid, what is still due, and you have exhausted your insurance premium.
We had a huge transformation with the shift from the previous insurance, government insurance carrier, National Hospital Insurance Fund, to Social Health Authority. And that's a game changer. And what we're seeing is we've seen an increased number of patients who are able to access services immediately, and those services were not available to them even during NHIF.
Prior to transition, I had done my pre-auths with NHIF, and I was worried that the funds will get lost or be locked away. But it transited smoothly because even after I came when it was SHA, I was able to use those funds under SHA, and I registered under SHA, so I can be seen in the SHA system. We were even able to get services without the forms before the forms were here.
Nilijaribu kuingia SHA, haikutiki muda, nikaingia direct, na imeingia sawasawa na inanitibu. Ukuwa KU referral, umefika mahali ungeenda India au uende mahali ingine, sababu hakuna chochote, mashini yoyote hatuna.
The government set out to deploy the digital superhighway as a driver of business growth, job creation, and an enabler to the other socio-economic transformation pillars.
We have deployed about 13,000 kilometers in the last 2 years, with over 8,700 kilometers being done by private sector and government doing about 4,200 kilometers. So this is going to enable us stretch the connectivity to our remote locations, move from the county headquarters, sub-county headquarters, to our villages and to every government institution.
The government has installed and operationalized 1,491 Wi-Fi hotspots countrywide.
We're establishing in markets, road stages, and we've made good progress in sustainability and making sure they are more resilient and they are functional.
274 digital hubs have been operationalized countrywide, through which 16,804 digital devices have been distributed. The number of youths being employed through the Ajira and Jitume Digital Jobs Program has increased by 122,711 from 30,000 in 2022 to 152,711 in 2024.
I appreciate Jitume Lab because I'm able to use the devices here and the internet for free. Mostly I do affiliate marketing. Again, I also use free cash app where I earn money playing games, doing offers, downloading apps, but at least I make something and I'm grateful. I get to get things that most of the girls my age don't have.
In the last 2 months, I was able to explain to my partner how I can earn through online. I believe I could be paying fee for myself.
The number of youths receiving training in digital literacy to prepare them for online work has increased from 73,948 in 2022 to 516,505 in 2024.
I believe the government is on the right track in regards to empowering the youth in light of digitally enabled work. The kind of programs offered are basically training on digitally enabled work, and this cuts across several aspects of artificial intelligence. We have transcription, we have web design, we have forex market analysis. So we have students being trained in all those aspects.
We are aware that we have got an ambitious plan, but also realistic and attainable plan. And we need to strengthen our performance and delivery management mechanisms to ensure that we get results. We want to ensure that everybody, each and everyone in the public service, will be held accountable for performance by way of results.
How then is the government safeguarding the gains made so far while ensuring full implementation of the plan?
The performance contracts for the current financial year will inform the basis of the performance appraisal as at the end of the financial year, which will be 30th June 2025. The performance contracts have got very, very clear interventions, clear responsibility centers, clear timelines within which ministerial programs and activities should be undertaken, clear expected outputs and output indicators, plus time-bound targets on the basis of which individuals within ministries, departments and agencies will be held to account.
To accelerate the momentum of realizing the remaining part of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, President William Ruto calls for unity of all Kenyans and service for all Kenyans.
We have what it takes to transform the Republic of Kenya. And I am committed to making sure that whatever it takes, whatever decisions that have to be made, we will make them so that our nation can truly be transformed.
Thank you for joining us on Healthy Living. Stay connected to Voice of America at voanews.com. A look at your kidneys and how they impact your health. And an expert discusses chronic kidney disease and how to protect yourself. And Ivorian psychologist Noor Bakayoko shares some insights on bullying and what can be done.
It's important to avoid major events or major health crises.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.